Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Dad's Expensive Hobby.
What's up?
Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Retro Card Sandman. I picked him up the other day at Walmart at that Spark Your Collection display. And I gotta tell you, right through the package, I think he looks pretty cool. I really love these, these retro card packages. They've got a nice big window on the front here showing us everything that's going on inside with a nice picture of Sandman right there. And on the back, it's got another nice image of Sandman. And it says some stuff right there if you want to pause the video and read it. But anyways, that is enough about this package. Let's get him out of the package and take a closer look at him. All right, right out of the package, he looks all right, but I can tell there's going to be some things we need to talk about. But let's see how tall he is really quick. To the top of his head, he is right at 6.5 inches, which would make the entire figure just north of 16 centimeters, 16.5 centimeters, something like that. I don't know how accurate that is because honestly, I don't know how tall this particular character is actually supposed to be. But let's stand him next to some other characters that he does share the screen with. Here he is with Maximum Spider-Man, and he's taller than Peter Parker, so I'm going to assume that is correct and not really worry too much about it. Here he is with Marvel Legends Rhino, and he's definitely shorter than him, and he's supposed to be. And I think those two look pretty good together. Rhino is a nice looking figure, by the way. If you haven't checked out my video, check it out. And lastly, just because I love this figure, and it's, something that you might want to squeeze in with some kind of Marvel versus Capcom, here he is with the Storm Arena Ryu from Street Fighter Alpha 3. And I think Ryu looks really, really awesome, but they look good together nonetheless. Now for accessories, he comes with a decent amount of stuff. Comes with 2 different head sculpts. Comes with this regular William Baker head sculpt here on him in the package. And it looks okay. It actually captured his wavy hair pretty well. The face, for the time when this was sculpted or whatever, doesn't look too bad. Teeth look good. Eyebrows kind of look like one of those Instagram women where they kind of painted on their eyebrows or whatever, but it looks good enough. He comes with this kind of half sand head right here that looks really, really nice. It's got like the hole where Spider-Man or whoever punched a hole through it, and it's got a lot of paint and texture, and it looks really, really good. Now technically, he comes with 4 different hands. He comes with 2 fist hands on him in the package, and they look okay, I suppose. And he comes with 2 different like sand effect hands. He comes with like this little mace type looking one right here, and it's done really well. It's kind of softer, kind of plastic, but the paint and the texture and sculpt on it is really, really awesome. And he comes with 1 giant spiky sand fist, and I like it the most probably. The sand effect really came through awesomely on this one. I really, really like the look of it. And he came with 2 different wrist, like sandy wrist effects to kind of put over the wrist to make it look like his arms transforming in the sand, and they are done super, super well. Overall, I'm not disappointed with these accessories. Now for aesthetic, we've got a few things to go over. I just described his faces a little bit, but we're going to go over them real quick one more time. His hair, like I said, they captured the kind of wavy look to his hair, so that looks good. His eyebrows do look a little TikToker girl for me, and the face is just a little ambiguous, but it doesn't look too bad. And unfortunately, as far as paint and sculpt, that's some of the best features on here, and I'll tell you why. Let's start with the shirt. The shirt, line work wise, is done pretty well. It all marries up for the most part, even when you kind of engage the abdominal break. It's not too bad. But when you get over here into the shoulder, you see how that kind of all just clumps into one solid piece of dark green on both sides. That could have been a little more well thought through, I guess, to an extent. It doesn't personally bother me, but people who do a lot of photography, that might bother you all some. It looks okay down through the sleeves. The muscularity of the arm, it's questionable. It looks better from the inside than the outside. The lower arms right here, the wrists and forearms, that is painted skin color, and it is painted horribly.
We have a problem.
It looks awful. Green is poking all the way through on both arms, and it just looks like teetotal crap. I hate it. His chest, now, not that Flynn Marco is supposed to be some super muscular guy, but we should have a little bit more chest than this. His waist and hips are wider than his chest is, so that kind of gives him a frumpy dump kind of look. But speaking of frumpy dump, Let's get down here to his waist and his hips. He has thigh gap, big time, and for no reason. And I hate the way they do when they carve out pelvis area like this. I don't like that. You don't need to do that. But anyways, speaking of lower body, his legs are very cylindrical. There's no like muscle tone or shape to them. Do you see what I'm talking about right there? I don't really like that. Again, this is just, this is just Sandman. He's not supposed to look like the Incredible Hulk, but I'd like to see a little bit of muscle. Now the sculpt of the pants and the details, as far as like the details down through here on the side and on the pants pockets, looks good. I got no problem with it. There's a little bit of texture on the pants, but his legs are too cylindrical, and his boots, they feel like they're too small for the figure, or too small for the ankle joint. You see that ankle joint's bigger than his whole darn foot. So I have a little bit of issue with that. So and his head's too big. I got to go ahead and just say that the head's too damn big. It should be just a little bit smaller, especially being a villain. Villains, have smaller heads. So I would have liked to have seen his head be a little bit smaller. It's just, too big for the figure. But, that is indicative of a Marvel Legends Hasbro figure. Other than the paint on the arms sucking and just the sculpt being a little whack, he's not a terrible looking figure per se. Now for articulation, we're going to go through it just like any other figure. We'll start with his head. He'll look down really good, except you get a lot of freaking, hump back there. I don't really like that look. And he'll look up pretty good. You get tracheotomy patient treatment right there. But then he gets obviously the 360. And you already know where I'm going with this. He just gets wiggle on it, and that's because he's on that daggone disc hinge ball peg system. I hate that. I know this is a 3 or 4 year old figure, but I hate it with all my heart, because you can't do anything other than look up and down. Anyways, his shoulders, they'll go out to 90. I'm not going to freak out about that. They didn't need to sculpt that trap to kind of leave that ledge right there. He would have gotten a little bit more if they hadn't done that, but whatever. He does get a full 360, so no problem. No butterfly on him. He doesn't really need it, so it's not that big of a deal. He's got a bicep swivel. That bicep swivels. He does have a pinless double jointed elbow with plenty of range and doesn't look any more disgusting than any other Marvel Legends elbow. Now his wrist is on a hinge just like normal, and it works just fine. Now his abdomen. He's got that upside down ab crunch thing going on right here. So it'll click him forward a little bit, not a whole big bunch. And it'll click him back a little bit. Got a little bit of beer gut going on right there, but not that big a deal. I think that's accented a little bit by the stripes of the shirt, So that's not too horrible, and I'm not in love with this sculpt anyway. And he has a waist twist that actually doesn't look teetotally putrescent. Well, now it does when you engage it. But if you're just using it a little bit, the colors, I think, are what's kind of hiding it a little bit, so that's not too bad. Hips will go out to there. He's got the flexibility of a 45-year-old tax attorney, but no big deal. He'll front click up to the waist, so that's not too bad. He's got a little bit of Sandman booty, so he's not kicking back any, but that's okay. He's got a thigh swivel that works just fine. He's got a pinned double jointed knee, tons of range, and the proportions are actually pretty good. So bravo Hasbro on that one. No shin swivel. Now we've already talked about this ankle. The hinge is way too big for the foot, and so the foot doesn't get any kind of range of motion. It just catches in the back, and it doesn't really come forward at all. You do get some ankle rocker, so that's not too bad. And as usual, he's got peg holes, in the bottom of the foot with no toe hinge. So his articulation, it is par for the course for a Hasbro Marvel Legends. Nothing special, and no kind of systems in there that make me want to pass out. Okay, final thoughts on Sandman here from the Spider-Man Retro Card. He's not bad. I don't really see what the hype was, how he was some just beloved figure that they had to do a re-release, some special re-release anyway for him. He's not a terrible figure. He's not the best looking, but he's not the worst looking. He does have some pretty cool accessories. I do like those sand forearm and hand effects. That half sand head is really cool looking. I do like that. Kind of reminded me of from Terminator 2, the T-1000 when he got shot in the face. That looked a lot like that, and it was pretty cool. His paint is atrocious from the elbows down. That's awful. The line work on the shirt's not too bad. Sculpt of the pants is okay, other than the fact that the legs are pretty tubular. All in all, he's a decent buy for 25 bucks in 2025. That's not too terrible. I will give him, for Marvel Legends, I'll give him a C+. He's above average. None of these characters that they've re-released for this, Spark Your Collection display have blown my socks off. I think they've all three been C+ reviews so far. But anyways, that is not too bad for him, and that is all I've got for Sandman here. If you have not subscribed, pause the video, scroll down, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And if you would, click on that video that just popped up in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. And with all that said, this has been Dad with Dad's Expensive Hobby, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.